Hello, I'm former Kansas Attorney General Bob Stephan. I served as Attorney General from 1979 to 1995. Out of a deep concern for the unfair treatment of crime victims, not only in Kansas but across the country, I formed the Attorney General's Crime Victims' Rights Task Force in 1987 to develop better and more appropriate treatment of crime victims throughout the criminal justice process. Many criminal justice professionals mistakenly believe that upon the arrest and conviction of a defendant who committed a violent crime, the victim or victims will be able to feel closure and put the horrible memories of the crime to rest. But that is very rarely, if ever, the case. When I was growing up, I lived in a home with a father who was an alcoholic. When he was drunk, he would beat my mother until she was unconscious. For more than 80 years, I've had nightmares reliving the violence. I have never had closure, and I doubt that anyone who has experienced violent crime will either. It is impossible to do away with the memory of the injustice they experienced. In 1988, the Crime Victims' Rights Task Force began its work and traveled with me to all four corners of our state, gathering support for new laws that would better support crime victims and allow their voices to be heard. In 1989, at my urging, the Kansas legislature began passing victims' rights legislation, including the Crime Victims' Bill of Rights, that ensures victims the right to be involved at all critical stages of the criminal justice process. Next, we went to work to secure passage of a state constitutional amendment for victims' rights. We were victorious in our work to amend the state constitution, and in 1992, the Kansas legislature placed a victims' rights constitutional amendment on the general election ballot. It passed by more than 84% of the popular vote. At that time, only 8 states had such constitutional amendments. In 2009, 20 years after the Crime Victims' Bill of Rights was passed, a tree was planted in honor of crime victims on the south side of the Kansas State House grounds. It was dedicated by the task force in my honor for all the work done on behalf of the rights of crime victims in Kansas. We've come a long way in passing laws to assist crime victims, but sadly, laws don't prevent crimes. We must continue to work toward a society that disavows all violence and puts a stop to everything that promotes its growth. What I started many years ago, I now ask each of you to continue. We must protect and assist crime victims and survivors today and every day going forward. Thank you.